Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's edition, Kyle Bauer visits with Rex Friesen from Southern Kansas cotton growers. Cotton has become a growing trend. Learn what it takes to grow and harvest cotton in Kansas. Next up, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas Soybean update. Then Duane Toews talks with David Pugh, owner of Southern Traxx Veterinary Services. David talks about parasites in different regions of the state and how to recognize when they are an issue in your herd. Learn what's going on around the state with the Kansas Farm Bureau update. And to wrap up, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Kyle Bauer is with Rex Friesen with Southern Kansas cotton growers.
A lot of people don't think about Kansas as being a cotton state, but certainly over the last couple decades, it's become a cotton state. Rex, tell me about the company that you work with.
I work with Southern Kansas Cotton Growers. We're a cotton cooperative that runs two gins, one at Anthony and one at Winfield. The gin at Winfield is the oldest operating gin in Kansas right now. In 1996 it was built. And then the Anthony gin was a few years later, and I can't remember exactly when. And then we also have two other gins in Kansas also out at Cullison, the next generation. And then Northwest Cotton Growers out at Moscow, Kansas.
I guess we'll just start through this on the growing cycle of cotton. When do you plant it? When do you harvest it?
We try to plant it as soon as weather lets us, and that's usually starting about Mother's Day. We start watching the weather and the forecast, and we plant through the first week of June and maybe a little bit later, depending on the weather. Cotton doesn't like to be cold, so that the roller coaster we have in May is often dictates when we start.
Well, cotton is relatively new to Kansas. Certainly it's just across the border in Oklahoma as well, but cotton is not a new crop. Why are we raising cotton in Kansas now and we haven't for centuries?
I think there's a number of reasons for that. There's a lack of familiarity. I think people are just discovering it, and farmers are looking for options that make some money. And cotton has had a really good run with our yields and prices, so our growers are very happy with the returns that they've been getting lately.
But truly, it's not a lot like raising grain. Besides the agronomic practices, you don't just raise cotton and haul it to town. There's a lot of infrastructure that has to be involved with cotton.
That's correct. It's a lot more complicated in production. It's more management intensive. Harvesting, you need a special equipment for that. The harvesters are called strippers or pickers, and you can't use a combine for that. You need it to be harvested, you need it to be ginned before it's worth really much anything. So
Let's talk about the ginning process. That's who you work for. So after the farmer harvests it, what happens at the gin?
Well, as the cotton is harvested in the field, the harvesters call in when fields are done and report how many bales or round bales they might have, modules or round bales. And then following that, we put them on the list of when we gin them. And when it's trucked and ginned. So we have it in an orderly fashion. We do our best to gin it in the order that it's called in. And when it's their turn, we have it at the gin, and we run it through the gin and gin it.
But what happens in the ginning process that makes the cotton marketable?
Well, we have to clean it. For one, there's often a lot of plant material in it. And the most important thing is we got to take the seeds out. And that's where it's a very unique process. And if you've heard the name Eli Whitney before, I like to tell kids, even when I give them demonstrations, that we have to take the lint out, separate the lint from the seeds before we can do anything with the lint. And following that, we package it in bales and prepare it for sale.
What happens to it from there?
Well, what normally happens is the gin or the bales are ginned and they're tagged with a unique number. Everyone is graded separately and uniquely, and the quality rises and falls on each individual bale. But those bales, they're sent to a warehouse facility in Liberal, and while the quality grades are determined, they're waiting there for that to be done. Once it's determined, then those grades are put in the computer, and every one of those bales then is ready for a sale to a textile mill wherever it may go. The ginning capacity or the milling capacity in the United States is only about 3 or 4 million bales, and we produce probably 20 to 22 million bales. The rest is all for export.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
What if we dreamed bigger? What if we looked beyond ourselves to the world outside? With the world population over 7 billion, who will lead us into a sustainable future? Kansas State University's Agronomy Department is working to build that brighter future for us all. As a career in high demand, we're working to understand, manage, and protect Earth's vital resources. We help farmers manage and grow their harvest by studying the science behind plants, soils, and the environment, providing a higher standard of living for all, while being good stewards of our natural resources. We work to make the future greener. We work to make the future brighter. Explore a rewarding career and join us in helping feed the world. Discover the possibilities with Kansas State University Agronomy.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Steve Swaffer, Executive Director of No-Till on the Plains, joins us. And Steve, No-Till on the Plains and COUNTRYCROCK recently introduced a cover crop collaboration. What are the details of this 3-year agreement?
We're really excited. This is going to be an opportunity for producers in eastern Kansas and the western tier of Missouri to get a little bit of help to plant cover crops on acres that have never been planted to cover crops before. So we will make reimbursement available for seed purchases to producers in those eastern tier of counties, up to $10 an acre for the purchase of that seed. We'll roll this program out beginning in September, and we're really excited about this partnership that we've formed with Upfield. That's the parent company of COUNTRYCROCK.
Why a company like this to partner with?
COUNTRYCROCK has a plant in Gardner, Kansas, in Johnson County, and so they source soybeans for oil that go into the product from that general vicinity. So we've centered the program sort of around that facility, but understanding there are a lot of folks and producers across that region that might benefit from the opportunity to put in cover crops and to learn about the soil health movement that's going on and how they might participate and improve the soil quality on their own farm.
Now, No-Till on the Plains, you'll be administering the new program.
Yes, we'll have somebody on staff who will work with the producers to make sure that we get the information that we need to get the information out to the producers of what they'll have to provide to No-Till on the Plains. And then once we receive that information and a receipt for the purchase of that seed, we'll cut those producers the check. There'll be an 80-acre minimum on that enrollment, but there is no maximum until we get to 13,000 acres across that region.
Now, will there be farmer information sessions or meetings that will be coming up here soon?
Yeah, we're in the planning process of those right now, Greg. So we'll do 3 of those this summer prior to the enrollment period. We'll probably stage those northeast Kansas, somewhere in western Missouri, and somewhere in southeast Kansas, August, September timeframe. So that's getting planned as we speak.
But if they want more information now, can they call you guys there at the office?
You can reach us at 785-210-4549. And we'll have information being updated on our website, www.notill.org, as it's made available.
That is Steve Swaffer, Executive Director of No-Till on the Plains, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Coming up, Duane Toews talks with David Pugh, owner of Southern Traxx Veterinary Services, about how to recognize and treat cattle parasites across the state.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'd be glad to answer it and work with you.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
These days, no one can afford to take the risk of being without financial protection against high health care costs, not even for a few days. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans offer short-term health care coverage to fill in those temporary gaps. Short-term health plans can provide you with medical coverage when you are between health plans, helping lower your potential financial risk. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau financial services agent near you.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane is with David Pugh, owner of Southern Traxx Veterinary Services.
Duane Toews joining you once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with David Pugh with Southern Traxx out of Alabama. David, we think about internal parasites in beef cattle in particular at this particular conference that we happen to attend. Really, they are a profit robber, but you don't see it because it's not visible.
Well, parasitism in Alabama is ubiquitous everywhere. Here in Kansas, the diseases everywhere, internal parasitic diseases, are local. They're like politics. And so parts of this state, you're going to have very, very few parasite problems. In other parts, you have a lot of problems. In adult cows, it's the one that people talked about for years was Ostratagia. It's still there. More of a problem in certain areas. But in young calves, we have used really, really good dewormers for a really long time. You know, we've had Ivermectin since the late 70s. And parasites literally adapt, to improvise, and overcome. They figure out how to beat the dewormer. So the more often you deworm, the more likely you are to see problems. And in our younger calves don't have good immunity yet, or have not accrued the immunity to Haemococcus or Ostratagia. Haemococcus or Coupura. Those two parasites are really robbers of potential growth and feed efficiency. In animals that are inappropriately dewormed. Is that fair?
So talk about a little bit of how we avoid those situations where we have some of those parasites that are developing resistance. What does a producer do to try to evade that problem?
Well, one is don't just deworm unless you have if you don't have a problem, you would minimize your deworming. Even in the Southeast, we recommend in adult cows not deworming cattle on a 1 to 9 body condition score. If they're over 4 years of age and over 5 condition score, we don't recommend deworming them unless they got ear in them. If they got a little Brahma in them, they're going to have parasite problems because they're genetically superior for external parasites, but inferior for internal parasites. And so we're going to recommend not deworming everybody, but just the one in need. So lower than 5 body condition score on anything over 4 years of age need to be dewormed. All calves up to probably a year and a half, sometimes 2 years of old, should be dewormed. And it depends on once a year or twice a year. And I would get something that would control specifically Haemococcus and Ostratagia. And right now, where I live in Alabama, and I would bet a Coca-Cola is similar here, although less of a problem here, that's going to be a white wormer. And you've got 3 choices there. You've got Panicure Safeguard, Valbasin, which is made by Zoetis, and Synatic. And those are real similar dewormers. Those will control most of the time those 2 parasites in younger calves. And then the other one of the macrocytic lactones, there's 2 sides to that family. And I think a lot of companies argue about it, but you go to real parasitologists and they're going to say, no, there's 2 sides. There's an abamectin side and an avermectin side. And the avermectin side right now, where I live, has poor efficacy against Coupura and Ostratagia and Haemococcus. So we're going to pick somebody on the abamectin side. And right now that's Sidectin. And so epinectin, Dectomax, and ivermectin are less good choices for young calf deworming where I live. You want to get something that will meet the deworm, that will meet the parasite and kill him dead. You don't want to live in harmony with him. I want to kill them all if I can. And that's the way I work.
All right, thanks to David Pugh joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
Kansas Farm Bureau is proud of our endorsement process that we have because it is truly a grassroots process. And in this case, we are going to make an endorsement for Tracy Mann for the 1st District congressional seat. But to arrive at that, our process involved having the input of all of our counties. Those counties had the opportunity to make recommendation to our state board, PAC board that is, and those recommendations then were consolidated into an endorsement. And with the recommendations that come from those counties, it was very obvious that Tracy Mann deserved the opportunity to be a candidate for the congressional seat. Tracy comes with a great background, and it was recognized by our counties. And to make those recommendations, they appreciated his effort of reaching out to them, but also in reaching out to them, he brings a wealth of experience from the ag community. He has some experience in the political arena, and most of all, he is very supportive of agriculture and the rural way of life that is so important to the 1st District. So with that, Kansas Farm Bureau is very pleased to make the endorsement for Tracy Mann for the 1st District.
Yeah, well, President Feltz, thank you for this endorsement. You know, the Kansas Farm Bureau endorsement is the gold standard in Kansas politics, is the gold standard, especially in big first politics. And it means so much in the political realm, and it means so much to me personally because it's what it stands for, and that's the county level support of so many fantastic farmers, ranchers, ag producers all over the district. And thrilled, humbled, honored, and extremely grateful. You know, as we know, the Kansas Farm Bureau has been the voice of agriculture and the leading agriculture advocacy organization in Kansas for more than 100 years, and it just means the world to me. You know, specific to some things I'd like to do. So, you know, I'm running to get elected to Congress in the big first. A long history of big shoes to fill so far as other members that have served in that seat. I will be delighted to serve on the House Ag Committee and would pledge to do that every day that I'm in office. As we all know, things are tough on the family farm right now. There's no shortage of issues that we're facing, from low commodity prices to trade barriers, and those things are related, gaps in our rural internet broadband coverage, the challenges in healthcare and the access to good healthcare, environmental and overreaching regulations from the EPA and others. You know, all of those are issues we're facing right now, and I hope to get elected and get to work to help solve these and to improve things for our farmers and ranchers all over the state.
Thank you, Tracy. And for just the reasons that you mentioned, and those issues are why the county saw that you would be a great congressional representative for those folks. So Kansas Farm Bureau is proud to continue our support and issue our endorsement to you and working with you as we proceed into this election. Thanks again.
Thank you very, very much.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
No one plans to get sick or injured. But when life happens, it's important you and your family are protected. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans are there to provide continued health care coverage to meet your needs. Choose from a broad range of individual and family plans. And if you're over 65, we have options for you too. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to Western Kansas.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, and with the fella who always says, speak your mind and ride a fast horse. Well, you always say it, but it's like I never listen to you.
Yeah.
Speak your mind and ride a fast horse, Duane Toews. The wonder of Mound Ridge, Kansas.
Talk low, talk slow, and carry a big stick.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Besides that, when you speak low and you speak slow, when you do talk, people listen. Yeah, it's not like us radio people who talk constantly. They're just babbling on.
You don't have to be E.F. Hutton. You can be just an average person.
Average person. Talk low, talk slow, and people will listen.
They'll either listen or they'll wonder whether or not your brain's in first gear.
Yeah, or they won't, and then you can say, I told you so.
Speaking
That's
of
like my
brains,
life. Go ahead.
Your fact or fiction question of the day. Ants outweigh humans on the earth. Fact or fiction?
You know, I have heard that. I cannot believe. Wait a minute. I think it's maybe insects. Ants. Yeah, I think it's insects. I'm going with fiction.
That says it's true.
There's more ants
more
by
pounds,
weight.
Biomass. Weight.
Do you believe
ants.
that?
Well, there's lots of ants in lots of places, but there's lots of people in lots of places too.
Yeah, and just think how many ants it would take to make up a person.
Although, have you seen some of those where they'll find an ant colony and they'll pour molten aluminum down it?
Yeah.
Which that, for the ant, that ain't such a good deal.
Well, no, it's not it's not hard at all because they send them an eviction notice.
Oh, they put a little note out
there's
front.
There's a legal notice that they have, and they send them and they say, we're going to be doing this on this date.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
better be out of here.
Moved out. So, and then everything's fine.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.